Are you sitting comfortable 2 square on your body? Then we'll begin. Now, like all fairy stories, this one begins once upon a Tyto. And Happiness Stan, whose whole life symbolised by the multicoloured radiate and scintillate of the multi of the rainbow, lived in an ancient Victoriana charabanc. And this is the old type, sit up and beg, rotate to poppy with solid wheels all rotated there, very flat, even to squash your toe neighbours. Oh, yes. Now, he had a great problem, because when Stan looked up in the heavenly abode as evening approached, he saw this half moon and dangly there and thought, oh dear, where has Scapington gone or stolen, strayed and begged this other half of the moony most? Oh dear. So he put his eyes down and walk it, ploddy through the forest, thinking to himself, oh folly for this other half moon, oh dear. Where at, man, he thought, where at? Oh dear. Now, after many a long mile of stretch and walk it, Stan had a deep hunger grumbly in the tumbleoder, which we all do, and wouldn't he, after trittly our huffalo down to hill and dale? Oh, yes. So he sit him down on a leafy banquet, reached in his pocket, and out come the mincemeat sandwiches, when? And the fly, who had shared Stan's mincemeat sandwich, was so happy and grateful that he says, how can I repay your hospitality, Stan, for that? And Stan looked at the fly and said, wistful in his eyeball, scintillate there. If only you could tell me where the other half of the moon dangling in the heavenly abode has gone. This is my great worry. And the fly said, oh, if I knew, I would tell you. I know someone who does, and I could transport him most if only I were big enough. Now, little did he know that Stan had the magic hold of the power. He lifted up his arm and did a wavy most, all magic golden wording. And he said, if all the flies in the world were one fly, what a big fly that would be! Transforming those their deep joy. And then the fly said, not only will I take you there, but I will sing you a song too. Now the takeoff of the fly was of such force, the great velocity, it escaped several miles per several, just like a rocket in orbit. Now, after 7 long days of coasty motion in this orbit field, they gradually came down through a gradient of frutiform, which is degrees, and flat on a belly cake land, if you'll excuse the expression of that. It was in a beautiful clearing before a lovely forest, leafy of that. And the fly pointed towards the forest with a hairy forefinger and said, I must leave you now, Stan, but in there, Mad John, and mark it the words. Not only will he give you the answer to the lost half moon, which is your great worry of it in your myload, but also he will give you the philosophy of life in itself. Now, I must go now. Now, Stan was very much appreciative of all this solving of his proploads, of the life itself, being a simple old man at heart, and he gathered the fly towards him and cuddled him. It's got so big now that the whiskers protrude and tickled him in his ear, goes, cause them both to chuckle, fly and a human laugh for that, and he left him. Now, and so he went off. Now, as Stan groping forward in the forest, he focused to himself the words, marked it, Mad John, Mad John. Then he came to the cave. Now, all was murky as he grasped his eyes towards the background of this murky, inky blackness drape. And then suddenly he saw a slightly sort of everfade of light, which is surrounding most of the human form. It was Mad John. What? Long beard and dangling. He must have been 34 years with hermit growth it on their sort of follicles as hair grown. And there was this long robe trimmed with the hermy most, this radiated light all around this character of man who was obviously deep depth of knowledge in his pose of form. And he said, there's Wellcoat here, man. Where you at, man? Stan, Wellcoat. You're not worried about that moon dangling man there, are you? He said, well, yes, I was a bit. He said, come with me. And he clasped him around the shoulder bowl with his long, fine, slender arm pegger, and walking him through the mouth of the cave and looking up there, and says, oh, fully moon there. The man said, yes, Dan, oh dear. He said, do you know what it is? 7 long days, and there's answer to the moon which rotates in the orbits around the, and it smote Stan through the eyeball like a 7-ounce bloody hammer cropping him surf to And so anyway, he said to Mad John, wasn't there something else which the fly transport me to tell you? Yes, there is, he said. You just listen to this.